All
right.
It smells like roses, Rosie.
All right, so guys, guys,
Me too.
what we're gonna talk about, we're gonna go around the room and anybody who wants to share can share, and if you don't wanna share, you don't have to. When did you realize, because I'm pretty sure anybody that's sitting in this room 100, 200 times said to themselves, I need to go get help, I need to do something different, you know what I mean? When was the time when you were like that moment of clarity, like, I need to go? You make the decision to go. Maybe you can tell me, excuse me, what led up to it. You know, maybe somebody, maybe you caught a case, maybe your wife, your husband, whatever it was. But I want to know, because really what I'm trying to do is bring everybody back to how miserable and shitty life was then. Because I know we come in here and we get a few days or a few weeks clean and we have some new relationships, and all of a sudden, like, we start thinking that, or we start believing the fact that, like, life wasn't super miserable torture. Like, we didn't come in here, like, completely broken and humble and begging for a change. You know what I mean? So just, like I said, we'll go around the room. If anybody wants to start it off, go ahead, Rosie, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start off. Thanks, Mike.
My pleasure.
I'm going to talk about, if it's okay, what got me here this time.
Yeah.
Because it was a little bit different. I was never forced to come here, either by law or by my family. I always realized that I was in deep shit and I better do something. That's kind of the way the first two times were. This last time, it came on the heels of my husband sort of doing rehab in my home, where I was kind of locked up. I had no car, no money. I couldn't go anywhere by myself. He recreated, and I know that they all heard all this. He recreated a rehab in my home. I couldn't get in somewhere, and then something didn't work out here, and then, so he said, I'm just gonna do this. And it actually worked for a while, and I had been so bad that I kind of went along with it. But man, I gotta tell you something, it built up so much resentment for him. With me stuck in the house, and also could never be alone. I would have to be with him in the car 24/7, talking on the phone with clients. He's a lawyer, and I'm like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. So I got mad at him one day, and I drove to the Houstonian. It's a fitness center, a hotel. I sat down at the bar and ordered 2 double shots of Finlandia. Okay, it's stronger than what I usually drink. I drink rot gut. What I drink.
Plastic bottle shit?
It's plastic bottle, and it is $3.45 for a pint. So I'm drinking this. I have no idea how much it costs. $800 I spent with it. So by the end of the stay, it was $800 of liquor. And I went to my hotel room, ordered more. Got up next morning, ordered more. I had built up so much resentment in him that I just took off. And I caught a cab and left. And of course, you know, that's a lot of liquor. And I got it the next morning too. Well, he came and got me, and I went to bed and slept overnight. When I woke up, and I'll be honest with you, I've been drinking for years, Mike, I think you know that.
Mm-hmm.
I have never, not one time, had any type of resemblance of the shakes, the DTs, nothing. No symptoms whatsoever. Maybe that's why I was taking it lightly all the time. I tried to get out of bed, and we were talking full-blown, I can't walk. I'm not even to describe the shaking. Take your shaking, and it was like, the size of it was like this much bigger. I mean, we're talking, you know, I mean, I was...
How long were you sober or clean before you relapsed?
None.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when I first last got out of it,
No, I know, because you said that he had set the treatment center up at home for you and
I
it
was
was
really
working.
creative about sneaking a pint here and there.
Okay.
You know, yard man, maids, you know, Lyft driver.
Yeah.
I thought I was picking you up. I said, no, you're going to go pick me up with her. And, you know, I was very creative.
Right.
So anyway, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
Emergency room, woo, hospital. And so I had my consequences I've never had before. And I'm like, you know what? That's a sign.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I've ever realized I am just shit if I don't go and get this time. I'm telling you. So I'm here. I am so happy to be here. I thank God every day for this place and for coming back. And I'm taking this serious. That scared me. because I had never had that happen before. And it was the amount I drank so short, and I supped it over the night. I thought I was okay, but honey, when I woke up, wow, I was gone.
Well, all right, so, and Jacob asked, because he said he might be leaving tomorrow, if we could do chapter 4. And chapter 4 is like my favorite chapter to do. You guys be agnostics. We're not gonna be able to do that. We're only gonna go for like 40 minutes, but it says in there that most of us have to be beaten into a state of reasonableness. You know, that pain and that consequence is like, kicks the shit out of you. When a real health scare
Yeah.
comes in. Now, let me ask you this. Without this and a program and AA and all that stuff, do you think that will keep you sober long term?
What I've got lined up, and I'm working with Miss
I'm
Amy.
saying pretend you leave here and don't do anything. Do
No,
you-
I couldn't say something.
Thank you.
I have to do something.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's probably many stories I can tell.
I want to know the one that, like the one that you were like, man, I need to go get help, man. I can't do this anymore. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I can't live like this one. I know there's a better way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, because let's be real, for our using for a long time, we've been going, I know that, you know what I'm saying? We know we need help. We think about it. We say no. We tell people we're going to do it and then we don't do it. But what was the time where you were like, shit?
Well, when I was looking out my bedroom window and seeing, we had a trash pile upstairs. And I looked at that trash pile for 2 hours. And I was swearing people in that trash pile thinking about, should we kill me? I sat there and watched it. And I broke down crying. I said, Jimmy, what is wrong with you? You're losing your mind. So I went out the house and looked at that trash pile, of course, nothing but a trash pile. The incident that led me to recovery to begin with, I was running down the road on March 27th, screaming, 5 o'clock in the evening, now busy traffic, screaming somebody was trying to kill me. I was always the one that, whenever my trip got so bad, I'd always call police or the ambulance to take me to the mental ward, because that was my escape. I couldn't handle it no more.
You running high there, get your weight back up. Yeah.
But what led me to my recovery was when I went to D2 in Dallas, VA, here at 6th floor, but in Dallas, 2D. And I was there 3 days in active home and go to rehab. And really, I'm 62 years old, I've never been to rehab in my life. The reason I've never been to a rehab is because I had no faith in rehab. None at all. Everybody that I've ever known going to rehab, usually within a short time, they relapse. So, but anyway, this particular time, when I was at 2D in Dallas, that's I wanted to go, and I said, it took a lot for me to do step 1, to admit. But when I admitted, it was like a ton of bricks hit the doctor. They said, if I wanted to, I could go home. If I go home, I'll be put on the bottom of the list. If I stay in the psych ward, I'll go right away. So I was in there 3 days, and I went the following Friday to rehab. Most of you know, probably all of you know that I just finished like a 95-day program, and I relapsed. But coming here, in answer to your question, I see now that it was good for me to come here, because I want you to know, when I relapsed, I've never heard myself cry, wailing, crying, because I'm assuming it's because I relapsed, I was disappointed, I was mad, I was angry, and I cried like a baby. I kept it from. I was crying uncontrollably. And my sister took me to Dallas and took this right now. Anyway, I relapsed. But today, I feel like the thing that happened to me this past week, losing my identity and everything, I think it broke me. Because my goal is still to live in the city of Galveston. It's hard for me right now, but I know I'm going to keep trying to eventually get there. But my idea was Galveston's a partying place. It's the place to get high and get drunk. That's what they do. That's what they do there. But that's not true, because I see people living prosperous lives. They're working, they're living a life, you know. So I feel after this past relapse, I feel like I can go out and get you a job, and I can live a good moral life.
Good man. Chris.
Well, I mean, let's see. Well, I was lying to my boyfriend. I mean, okay, so I was sober. I was sober for about a month, and then, man, I just got that urge that I wanted to use, and without even of it, you know, without even really thinking about it, I called my plug, and while my boyfriend was at work, and And well, he came home from work early and I wasn't there, and because my friend's phone rings, because I leave my phone at home just in case, and my plug's phone rings as I'm like with a pipe in my hand, you know, and we both look at each other like, shit, you know, it wasn't me calling, but so I go home, and of course he's throwing my shit out the door. So I had like nowhere to go. I go over to my neighbors, and he said I could stay there, but I didn't want to stay there. So I talked him into letting me load up all my stuff in his Jeep, and I camped out in the Jeep that night. And well, he left the keys, and well, I stole his truck. Well, I took it and drove it down to Dickinson.
Oh no, you said it right the first time.
Yeah, I stole it, yeah. I stole his truck. I wasn't supposed to. And I took it down to go get some more with all my belongings in it, everything I owned. And well, his truck got stolen.
You sold it.
Yeah.
You sold it.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I swear I didn't.
I believe you.
No, I didn't. But by an 18-year-old. I'm not even kidding. I got fucking robbed by an 18-year-old.
So here's the whole thing. So you wound up homeless.
Yep. And getting my friend's shit stolen. He's still yet to get his Jeep.
Damn.
Yep.
That's serious shit.
Yeah.
So you burned a lot of bridges.
Yes.
Yeah, you're at the end
That's
of the world.
that's just a small part of it.
Well, I know. Well, listen. Because like I said, we could talk about the shit leaving. I'm talking about that thing. Even if it was just sitting in the bathroom or sitting somewhere going, I cannot live like this
Yeah.
anymore. Because how many times have we said, I cannot live like this anymore? And then we go on living like this.
Yeah.
But you actually busted a move and came here. And listen, I know more people that get sober through jail than I do through treatment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they get locked up. Not many people get locked up for 28 days and then go right back out on the street. You know, they get locked up for some time,
Yeah.
and they have some time to sit and reflect and, oh shit, you know.
Yeah.
We usually have to be stopped. No doubt about it. Usually have to be stopped because, guys, if this was under our control, gotcha. If this was under our power, we would have stopped a long time ago, right? Anybody in here think that they would have ever did the shit that they did while they, you know what I mean? Like, well, I mean, how many of us said, that'll never be me, and that was you?
Normally,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the time.
And you know what? My neighbor's still really cool with me. He has been so super. I don't deserve it. Like he's such a kind old man. He's old.
So pay him back.
I
And I
am.
don't mean like, I'm like, show him that
Yep.
you're worth, like,
Yeah.
helping.
Yeah, he's 74 years old, and I've been helping him. So he's actually part of the reason why I'm here.
Good.
Because like I want to help others, and he's actually was the inspiration because.
Yeah, when someone who
Because
doesn't,
when I got his Jeep stolen, that was his, he liked to go to the shooting range. He likes his gun, you know, because he was in the military, you know, and he's an old man, and now he can't even do that. And yeah, and so like, and his health is deteriorated, it's been deteriorated ever since like almost 3 months ago.
all right, so here's the thing, right? Like, you're in a spot to make a change and do something different. Are you gonna be willing to make a change and do something different?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Okay. Who else wants to go? Norman, I got you in a second. Norman,
Man, I vividly remember, like it was yesterday, and it was actually
I feel like-
2018.
I feel like it was yesterday, you just got here.
You said the first time, didn't you?
Anytime, I don't
I'm
care.
gonna go back to the first.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Because, you know, that's what started my road to recovery. You know, I drank for 35 years. I got divorced because of drinking in 2011, and I remember the day I got divorced because I thought, now I can drink like I fucking want to.
Yeah, nobody over your
And
shoulder.
my life spiraled downhill. And I could muster up just enough energy to do my jobs during the day, but by the time I got off work, I was shaking like a fool. I was standing at the sink every morning, dry heaving. And, you know, I didn't know, because I wasn't in AA or anything, I never even heard of fucking rehab, right? I hadn't. But I know that I got hooked on this show called Intervention. No, I'm serious, guys. And I would watch this show, and I would sit there and I would think, I wish somebody would fucking intervene me.
Right?
Well, be careful what you wish for. Because my daughters are grown. One of them came home unexpectedly. Dad, I'm gonna come spend the night with you. I'm like, fuck, right? I'm drunk. She comes over, everything's cool. Intervention comes on. We're watching. Commercial comes on. She says, Dad, we need to talk. Yeah, y'all can see my arm right now. I literally, y'all seen me, I'm emotional. I literally fell apart in front of her like a baby. And I said, please, give me help. And, you know, the next morning, she took me to the doctor, and the doctor, that's the first time I'd ever heard about inpatient rehab. And, you know, that's how my journey started. Yes, I've been relapsed a couple times, but I'll never forget that that's what it took. You know, it took my child crying to me to tell me, Dad, please listen to me.
Most of us, besides some consequences like they were talking about, or getting locked up in jail or this, that, most of us, it's a family member that puts the mirror in front of our face. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
First time I ever went to treatment, now I'm struggling with painkillers for years. On, off, on, off, on, off. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I stopped for 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, and then went back to it. And they wanted me to go to treatment, and I didn't know what rehab was, and I for sure, if I seen AA on TV, because that was the only thing I knew about it, I was for sure those people were court ordered. Like, nowhere in my world did people actually do shit to make themselves better people. You know what I mean? So I had no idea what it was about. My sister goes, Michael, what you're doing is not working. And I'm like, oh shit, she's right. You know what I mean? But because I was like, no, I'll be, you know, this was my whole thing. No, I'll be good. I'll be good, I promise. You know what I mean? No, I'll be good, I promise. I'm fine.
Yeah.
And then she was like, Michael, how about you? What you're doing is not working. I said, oh, okay. And that's why I went the first time. The last time I went to treatment, overdosing and this and that and all this shit, my ex-wife and my sister and my mother would all be calling me like, what are you going to do? I'm like, what does it matter? You know what I mean? Because when I tell you, I went to treatment a bunch of times, and I really tried a bunch of times. The last time I went to treatment, before the last time I went to treatment, I went to an AA meeting every single morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. Right? Like, that's how serious I was. I went to a meeting at 6 o'clock in the morning before I went to work. Thank you. I'm doing the steps and working with a sponsor and doing everything, but I bump into somebody that owes me money, and instead of giving me money, he gives me 7 grams of heroin, and I'm getting high before I ever even thought about it. And that's why I'm like, what's the sense? Like, I'm trying, and this shit's not working. And my ex-wife and they're all like, you're going to die. The only reason why I went into treatment this last time was because I didn't want my kids going to my funeral. Not because I thought it was going to work. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. Like, I was like you. I was like, all right, well, I'll go to treatment, and then, you know. And I guess I'll try, like, whatever. Like, I literally wasn't even thinking about trying it when I get out. Like, I was just so broken and whatever. I just went because they were pressuring me. Because I really just didn't think it was going to work. Somebody else give me that moment of clarity. Go ahead.
So I've been using alcohol to numb myself, just for family issues and whatnot, and noticed that, I started wanting to drink alone instead of spending time with friends. But it wasn't until wasn't until I realized that I needed to give all my firearms to my dad, because there were so many times where I just wanted to pull over the side of the road and end my life. So there was that realization that, man, I know all about every single firearm I have, but I'm not safe around them anymore. So I gave them all to him, and I was sitting in a hotel room thinking of a way that I could use towels and a pillowcase to strangulate myself on the door of the bathroom. And I was like, shit, I need to call somebody. So I dialed the VA crisis line, and the next day, it was like my only bad interaction with the VA was I told them I was suicidal, and they were like, it was 11:30 at night when I got out of the VA, and they told me come back tomorrow because we don't have a social worker right now. So I woke up the very next morning. I got more alcohol, went back to the hotel room, thought about more suicide, and then was like, holy shit, I need to go. So as soon as I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, I started going to the VA.
Do you have wife, kids?
I have a
and
son.
Son, who you love.
Oh yeah, and he's honestly the only reason that I wouldn't kill myself. But I work in Greenspoint, and there have been many times where I've thought about staying in that area after dark and
hoping something happens.
hoping to get mugged and begging on my hands and knees for the person to kill me.
Well, here's the whole thing too, right? What about the lifestyle that we live in? Is that not suicide by the installment plan?
Oh, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. This is one thing I know for a fact to be true. Whether all it is just alcohol that you're poisoning, or if you're a hard drug user like me. Let's just pretend I'm a heroin guy. Let's just pretend I can't overdose on a drug. You give me as much as that I can possibly do. I'll want to kill myself. It sucks the life out of you. Nothing in this world will disconnect you more from yourself, your people, and God more than that shit.
Well, just being
It'll make
sober,
you-
I was suicidal.
Well, I know, because it seems hopeless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're not even, how many days are you sober right now?
Probably around 40.
40. Even at 25, 30 days, you weren't even thinking about suicide.
It's not since I've been here at the VA. I was thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, because
In like 10 to 14 days, I
Yeah.
was still thinking about it.
yeah, because I mean, listen, the detox from anything. You know, they'll tell you alcohol 5 days. This is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? The hard part or whatever. But listen, this is the one way. Like alcohol and heroin are very similar in their depressants. You get physically addicted to it. They're analgesics or whatever you call that, like they're pain relievers and stuff like that. They're pain. Do you understand? Like you ever see on an old TV show where they're about to pull the bullet out and they give the guy alcohol because it helps the pain? So when you stop drinking that shit, what comes back?
Pain.
All that pain, especially
Well, and
emotional pain.
it helped that I got medication, because I always made the joke, 25% of women are medicated, the rest of the 75% are running around unmedicated. And so I always made that joke, but then I realized for me to get over my depression and anxiety, I had to get outside help.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I tell you, the drugs and the alcohol. Look at Kurt Cobain, right? Here's a guy that had millions of dollars,
Yep.
and they said Courtney Love said he would seek oblivion. He would constantly do as much as he could. The shit makes everything dark. It makes everything miserable. And like you just said, what did you say at the end? You were drinking alone. You weren't even drinking with your friends.
Yeah,
anymore.
I didn't even want to hang out with my friends.
Because that's what that shit does. It makes you want to isolate. You're by yourself and everything. I mean, it's like it sucks the good and the life out of you. Make you want to kill yourself. And I'm glad you decided to do that instead of, you know what I mean? Like, but what happened is you had to be so goddamn broken that you decided to reach out, which for a big, strong military guy like you, that probably goes against your natural way.
Yeah.
I mean, for most of us, right? But still, like, it really does. Like, reaching out. Here's the thing. I would say, like, I don't want to ask nobody for help. I'll ask you to do something for me because I'm lazy. You know what I mean? But actually put myself out there and say, like, I can't. I have emotions that I can't deal with.
Amen.
I cry sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, I want to kill myself, but I can't admit that shit because who would say that out loud? I never don't think I would be a kill myself type of person. But the way I get high, that shit is suicide. You know what I mean? I'm putting a needle in my arm. Like, you know what I mean? You could be dead at any second. Like, I'll tell you this. I don't know if I wanted to die, but I didn't want to live. And I really didn't want to live in that pain. Somebody else. Good.
It was definitely my son that kept me alive, though, because when he was 4, his mom abandoned us. So I've been Mr. Mom since he was 4, and he's turned 12 today.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations to him and you. What's his name?
Tyler.
Tyler, good name.
Yeah. So if it wasn't for him, I'd have been dead months ago.
Yeah, I'm with you. Listen,
Easily enough.
I promise you, the only reason why I went into treatment that way, especially that last time, I'm not telling you, like, my oldest daughter had to go to my brother's funeral, you know what I mean? I said, that was something that I couldn't bear to think of.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else, give me something. Yes.
So
June 24th, my daughter gave birth to my youngest grandson. June 22nd, she picked me up from my baby mama's parents' house. And that was my moment. That was my, I'm done with it. I had died 1,000 days, every single day until that moment. And that day, I decided I wanted to live. I was done with dying.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was done with dying that day. And I was just thinking, I didn't even know the definition of die or death. But it says in the dictionary that it's to pass from physical life. Die. I mean, it's to pass from physical life, to pass out of existence, to cease, to suffer or face the pains of death, to long keenly or desperately, to cease to be subject, to pass into an inferior state or situation, or to stop. That's the definition of die.
Yeah, it's not to stop living, because
And I have died.
you probably did that a long
I
time
have
ago.
died 1,000 days in the last 7 years, and I got tired of dying. I wanted to start living.
Well, like we were just like sick and tired. Because let's be real, we were sick and tired for a long time before we got here. But to be so sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? Like, holy shit. Like being beaten into a state of reasonableness. See, this is what kind of upsets me sometimes. Everybody that comes through that door, you can ask Z, he's not here. Everybody that comes through that door is humble, right? Everybody's like, man, fuck. You know, man, well, hey, you gotta do this, you gotta go to these groups, you gotta make your bed, you gotta, man, I don't care, I'll do anything. 2 or 3 days, a week later, all of a sudden, man, this is bullshit, fuck that, I'm fine. No, for real, and I'm like, where'd that humility go? Because that's what you need, you know what I mean? When that ego and that sense of entitlement and that shit's running the show, you're in danger. You need to be humble. You need to be willing. You need to be beaten into a state of reasonableness, right? Because, listen, you don't go through that pain, you don't decide to change, right? Like I was telling you guys this the other day, I promise you, if you do this right, and you don't even have to do it right, you just gotta stop doing shit wrong, like get clean and work the steps, you will look back on the drug addiction and alcoholism like the greatest thing that ever happened to you. Because you get a complete different perspective on life. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of like life being a chore. Anybody know what it's like for life to like be a chore? Like a struggle, like what the fuck, man? Again, like I gotta wake up, like it just seems like the most, letting a dog out seems like, you know what I mean? It's not that. Like life is a gift. Every single day that you're alive, life is a gift. Granted, a lot of times it's a pair of socks, but it's a gift, right? If you look at it the right way. I mean, we only, listen, this is only my opinion. My opinion is we're put here on earth to help each other, love each other, nurture each other, get our spirituality up, be the very best people that we could be, so that when we pass on, because really, if you're lucky, 110 years, right, 100 years, like, it's very short time compared to eternity, right? You're only here for a very short time. Why struggle and be miserable? And this is the thing, even if you don't think this thing works, can everybody agree that what they were doing wasn't working?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Try something different. Somebody else give me something. Yes, yes.
I was in a semi-truck with my boyfriend and, well, I was in a car with a friend, but I guess she's more of a drug addict, so she, but anyway, she's, and then his brother. And my son has been, his dad's took him out of my, stole him, whatever, took him out of my life the majority of the time since I had to go in when I was in the military.
You're a VA person?
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
In 2013, I never know what to say to that.
So you
But I did, but it just feels awkward. But since he was 1.5 and he'll be 12 in December, I miss a lot of his life. Not because I didn't try, his dad literally like took off with him. And
That's a
probably
lot.
for the
That's
best.
a lot of pain to be carrying with you every day too.
Yeah, and I had him on Facebook video looking at me like I was, the best thing ever to him. And I was sober. I've been sober for, when I got here, 39 days. So I've been sober for about a month, 32 days. And I had my 12-year-old back in my life just looking at me like I could do no wrong. And that's when I realized I had to do anything I could
That's powerful
Yeah.
shit.
to be right with him.
Okay? Here's the whole thing. You don't get high right? You don't get high, they can't throw that shit in your face.
Mm.
You know what I mean? If you listen, and here's the whole thing, guys. Break this shit down. When you leave here, you're either doing everything right or nothing right. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like being able to show up for drug tests and pee clean for those, but you're out running around doing other shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's not doing the right thing. Like when you're clean, because listen, happiness is a byproduct of clean living. That living by that conscience, doing the, you know, the altruistic shit we were talking about before, doing the right thing for the right reasons and stuff like that. Listen, that shit will work itself out. I mean, he already loves you and wants you in his life. You do understand. You using, you're not good for him. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know.
But you like this, you couldn't be better for him. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna, all right, so
I'm
just
gonna do whatever I can.
like seriously, that's the type. When I say, like I say all the time, like, what's your main goal? You don't fuck that up. Is your main goal? Don't let nothing else get in the way of that. If you've got to get up and go to a meeting every day so that you can slowly inch toward that goal, that sounds like light work, right? That is not. That's not having teeth pulled with no Novocaine. That's light work. Somebody else.
Me?
No. Go ahead. What?
It wasn't gonna be fun.
All right, so let me hear it.
Just now.
Just now.
I had a phone call with my parents, and they just, you know, they needed to talk to me, and you know, I told them, hey, I haven't been attending all groups. You know, Victor told me if I miss any more, you know, he's gonna call my parents to come pick me up, and if I get picked up, I'm going to jail. And my parents also told me that within my last 3 or 4 months of using, my parents just got 2 bills. One for an ambulance ride for $1,600, a mile ride.
You got off cheap. You did.
Very
They're
cheap.
usually a lot more expensive.
and,
What's that? The ambulance?
I had one that was about $6,500 for like 9 miles.
So go ahead. So go ahead. I didn't even know.
And
I had one,
another
yeah.
one for a phone that I did not buy, but you know, it's like a phone plan. And so whenever I would be homeless or like be on the streets, you know, I would write all my parents' information down on a piece of paper, put it in my wallet just in case it got too high or something happened to me. And you know, and my wallet got stolen. And so somebody had my information, charged it to my parents in my name, and you know, my parents had that bill, and I'm just looking, you know, I cried in Amy's office when I was talking to them, because, you know, I put a lot of strain on my family, and they told me, you know, like, they didn't scold me, they weren't mad at me, they were just like, you know, what you've done is you've messed with our life, you know, and that hurt me to hear, you know, and I fucking hated it, man. So,
Wow. Thank you. Listen. Last chance, right? Last chance. Like if they're threatening to kick you out of here, you must be fucking shit up. They don't really kick people out of here. So if they're threatening to kick, like, it's not that hard. Go to groups, be respectful to other people, eat the decent food, you know what I mean? And just hang out. So just listen. When that thing tells you to do something that you know you're not supposed to do, just try to do what you're supposed to do.
and can you let me know when it's 6:30, because Miss Amy said to go to her office.
It's 6:30.
Can I give you some feedback real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. And then
So remember our big book study we did this morning about selfishness and selfishness.
All right.
What you've done in the past is your own selfishness. Now you need to be selfish in a way of only my recovery matters. So focus on that. Live for everybody else. But when it comes to recovery, you're the only thing that matters.
well, here's the whole thing too. This is another thing I tell people to do. Anybody in here that has kids, or grandkids, or a husband, a wife that loves them, pretend they're standing right next to you the whole time. Would you do some of this shit? Ooh. You know what I'm saying?
That's a total
Because listen, I had to call my ex-wife and tell her that I got into a fight at a treatment center and they're, you know what I mean? No kidding you, dude. You know what I mean? Like, same shit, you know what I mean? Oh, you know, it really wasn't my fault, you know what I mean? Never my fault. Lauren, go ahead.
What got me here this time, I had worked 2 12s, and then I was off a day, and I was supposed to work 3. and I just couldn't go part-time, so I was really pissed that they scheduled me for 5 out of 6 days. And, so I drank on my day off, and I got fucked up, like, seriously. And, like, high, drunk, decided to call the boss. 'Cause that's-
let them hear how pissed you are.
Yeah, and was just like, I cannot work Saturday. Like, it's just too much. But she was like, okay, let's talk about this. And that was that. I don't remember talking to her. So, the next 2 days I also called in. And I was on an out of control bender. Like, I could not stop drinking. I was drinking vodka just straight out of the bottle. And before I would at least like mix it with tomato juice or something. Like, but we're talking like bottoms up. And I wake up in the morning and I would just be shaking out of control. I tried to detox myself over 36 hours and could not do it, but I was sober enough to see my therapist. And, I'm not a mother, well, I'm a mother to 2 cats, but I don't see my family often. And I was like, who the fuck cares? Like, if I get better, if I kill myself, like, whatever, I've had some serious suicide attempts. And when I tell you, I was like too tired and too depressed to even kill myself. I had spent a good hour and a half like perfecting the noose, and that was going to be what I did. And for some reason, I just like was looking at my therapist, and I was like, I can't do this by myself. I fucking cannot do this by myself. I live by myself. I was so isolated. Like, I never like saw people unless it was like,
At work.
my fuck buddy
Yeah.
that came over, we got high, and like then he left. It was like I had no like emotional connections in my life. And I was like, Alex, like I've got to do something. Like I've got to go somewhere. I cannot do this on my own. And I was shit-faced and called Rob. He was like super nice on the phone. He's an asshole in real life.
Same experience.
Which Rob? You talking about baseball, Rob?
Yeah.
He's like, thanks for your money.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'm just.
He says that's his gimmick. That's how he reels us in.
It is.
And then he gets in here and he's like, yeah, I fooled y'all.
But, I had my friend Laura who went to treatment for 24 months.
That's serious.
Yeah, and we used to be like mirrored, like just fucked up. And I asked her to call my parents because like I couldn't even like talk to them.
Yeah.
And she called me back. She said, "Well, they're done. They are done." And I was like, "Fuck, I'm like really, really alone." And Alex was like, "Yeah, but like let's think about this. Where can you go to become whole again?" And the only place I could think of, I came here 4 years ago, and I was like, Great Oaks, it's small, like that's where I need to be. And I mean, my flight arrangements, I'm pretty sure I was blowing up if they're in the single digits. Like, so I'm surprised I didn't end up in like Alaska, but I made it here, and this was a really good decision because I've never done like deep trauma work, and that's what we've been doing. And my goal is to find out why am I so sad and lonely and isolated and fearful and stressed that I feel like I have to always have something, whether it's food or alcohol or sex, or like I always had to have something. And I felt like I cracked the door.
Yeah, you did.
There you go.
Remember when I said crave before the chocolate cake thing, but that's not what crave. We crave connection. We crave love, affection. We need that in our life. We need to be connected. We need each other. Do you think that you can get that type of thing through AA?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I say it all the time. I never went to AA for friends or deep spiritual connection. I mean, I wasn't against it, but that's not why I went. I went because I thought you guys might give me the secret handshake and I could figure out how to get on with my life. You know what I mean? And now everybody I have in my life right now, for the most part, is either in recovery or AA or in therapy and working on themselves, and they have the same type of goal as me, to be happy and to be the best people they can be. Selfless, kind, you know what I mean? Loving people. Here's the thing, I promise you, the better you get, the better type of people you attract. And I don't mean I'm talking any type of thing. You know what I mean? And you start, just hang in there. That trauma, getting down to causes and conditions and figuring that type of stuff out. So here's the whole thing with me. I've been through a lot of stuff, had a lot of trauma and had a lot of this. But I could look at this now, when I look back on it, I was like you since the age of 5. Always looking for something to make me feel better. Always thought and we're going to do a story this week because it plays right into this, right out of it. I was always under the impression that it was out there that was going to make inside feel better. You know what I mean? Because here's the thing. For a long time, we can put that Band-Aid on that gunshot. You know what I mean? Men, women, money, cars, clothes, drugs, whatever. It's it gets us to the next moment, so we think it's working. But what happens is, it really doesn't work. You understand what I'm saying? I had counselors. I don't know how many people, I've heard that being happy is an inside job. Happiness is an inside job. And I had no idea what they meant. Because I always felt empty and alone and disconnected and sad inside. My default setting is to feel like that. As soon as whatever's gone, I go back to restless, irritable, discontent, anxious, angry, nervous, depressed.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's that spiritual sickness that I talk about. Yeah, it's obvious. Drugs and alcohol were our problem. But were they really? Because for a while, it was a solution to our problem.
It was a Band-Aid.
Yeah, because the problem exists way before that. I bring it up all the time. Kanye West says in a song, he goes, the plan was to drink until the pain over. But what's worse, the pain or the hangover? You know what I mean? Because we do that, and then next thing you know, we got this wild drug addiction, you know what I mean? And now we have to deal with this. And that's why you got to deal with that and deal with this. And I'm telling you, you doing the work and you doing this, you're going to be able to be open up to so many better relationships.
Yeah.
Somebody else, I'm proud of you.
I'll share, Michael.
Yes, please.
Man, I'll be pretty brief, but I was in a bad way, man. I've been trying to get clean since for a long, long time, and I was kind of doing the thing, while I was doing the double life. I was able to hold it together enough, to have my son for the weekend, and I drop him off, and I get fucked up all week. But then I lost control, man. I got a hotel room. I dropped my son off, got a hotel room. And, you always think if you've got enough, right? Enough dope or enough money. I had it all. I had money, I had dope, and I got fucking out of my mind, man. I'm not even really a meth user, I say that, but I was doing dope, and I was up for 3 or 4 days, and my mom and sister came to bring me some food. It's like they saw a ghost, the look on their faces was crazy, and then seeing myself in the mirror, fucking trying to shoot up and smoking dope. The only way I went to sleep was to drink a bottle of vodka, taking Xanax. I was in a bad way when I got here, and the detox was fucking rough.
Well, I like how you said that, because I think a lot of us can do that. You know how to toe the line,
Yeah.
right? We all know how to toe the
Tell
line
life.
till we can't, right?
Yeah.
Because someone reads step 1 to me, and I'm gonna make a test for them.
We admitted we were
powerless over alcohol. Life become a man.
Someone tell me in there what they think the most important one word is.
We admitted.
Yeah, see, I don't think so. I think had. Had's the most important word in there. Because now that our lives had become unmanageable, now we have to do something. Life's been unmanageable for a long time, but now we can no longer toe the line. Our solution to the problem is no longer a solution. It's a fucking bigger problem than the problem before. And now, if you think, and listen, I'm with you. I've thought this a million times. I'll go to treatment, or whether I'm in treatment or on the street, I'll clean the shit out of my system, and I won't do A, B, C, and D, and I'll be fine. Never been fine my whole entire life. I was convinced that as long as I didn't do drugs or sell drugs or put the shit in my body or hang out with people I shouldn't, I'll be fine. I'll just make myself happy. I'll get up and go to work every day, and, you know what I mean? And I'll be happy. But I didn't know how to be happy. I didn't know that. I had that spiritual sickness or the dis-ease of self or the spiritual malady. Call it whatever you want. I had something inside me that couldn't be fixed by something on the outside. And I couldn't say to myself, or convince myself that I'm fine.
But I like how you put it the other day. The party's been over for a long time, man.
We do
Long
not,
fucking
we
time.
don't come in, we do
And
not
it's
come
like,
into treatment.
That little stint in the hotel room was
Yeah.
what it took, though, like for my family to be like, you gotta get help. And I didn't argue. I was
Yeah.
like, let's go.
And that's, listen, a lot of times when I do this, a lot of the times, it's people going, my husband and wife, or my kids, or, you know, like there was a guy here recently, and he was like, he had the nanny cam on, and his wife showed him the nanny cam, and he was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Like I said, put that mirror up in front, and we were able to see things. Like, I think the story is like David Hasselhoff's daughter taped him one time while he was drunk, and this, that, the other.
Original story in hamburger.
And he was like, holy shit, that's me? Because here's the thing, I want everybody to have this exercise, right? Could you imagine if we all had a twin that stood right next to us and followed us around, and this twin loves us and he wants the best for us, she, he, whatever, wants the best for you, and it, like, just wants you to succeed and do good and be happy. At what age would yours have said, you know what, I'm done with you? Because yeah, I know. Every time I do this, I think about it. The age gets younger and younger. I'm like probably 7 now. You know what I mean? But like seriously, really, I say 17. Like 17, they look at him and be like, "Man, the shit that you do, like the shit that you." Because here's the thing. You ever heard this before? Drug addicts and alcoholics are some of the smartest people. Usually, you only hear that in treatment centers or rehabs. Because if I ask your family, they're going, that person doesn't do smart shit. You know what I'm saying? The person that does the shit they do has to like be self-destructive or have a death wish.
Yeah.
You know, but it's true. We are smart. We are intelligent. Hey, we are. If that hole is a spiritual hole, then our spirit guides us, and our spirit. We are so empathetic and we are so loving and kind and generous and all this. We are in a world that is in need of repair, and there's pain all around us, and we feel that shit. Is it not true? Like, are we not the type of people that can see somebody in pain or see somebody and literally feel that from them? So it's like, even if you don't think it, we feed off each other. We feed off each other. When someone walks through that door and they have a smile for you, doesn't that kind of make you smile back? Like, we feed off each other's energy, and that's what it is. But here we are, we're isolating, we're using, we're doing, we are literally doing the exact type of shit that's gonna kill us, and we think that it's gonna make us feel better. That's self-destructive to the core. The shit that's going to kill you in your mind is gonna make you feel better. We could have 6 weeks, 6 days, 6 months clean, and we think that we want to go to this fancy bar and drink because it's going to make us feel better. And what does it really do? Puts us worse off than we've ever been. If that's not a disease or a sickness, I don't know what is.
Absolutely.
How fucked up is that? Could you imagine if you had a dog that did this type of shit? You'd be like, that motherfucker's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, look at this guy, just smashes his head into a wall all day long. I don't understand why. I don't know why he just won't.
That's what my dog thinks about me. Shit.
Like I said, like it's like our families that do this, right? Our families, no matter how much they love us and want to understand, if they're not one of us, they're looking at us like, why? Especially when we have 18 months or 6 months or 5 months. They're like, motherfucker, you beat this shit. Why would you go back? Because you don't understand how much pain I'm in.
Amen.
You know what I mean? You just don't know. Like, I used to really tell my people, like, man, if you had any idea, you wouldn't even ask me to stop. You know what I mean? You leave me the fuck alone. Somebody else give me one. Come on. I know somebody's kids or somebody's people in here banged them in the head and they were like, oh shit.
As soon as you mention kids, it's Jake.
Come on, Jacob.
I was drunk and I was trying to hide it. And I had my son for this summer, which I lost sad. But I made a bet with him about a Braves game or something. I said, I bet such and such, And he turned around and looked at me, and he's 14 years old, and he said, I bet you can't quit drinking.
I bet you what?
I bet you what?
I bet you can't quit drinking.
Quit drinking. He knew, and I was hiding it. I was trying to hide it, or I hid it. And then it set me on another little Fender, and I ended up in it.
But that shit will rock you too.
That will rock you.
Well, hey, listen, just so you know, and that had to hurt, and it's coming from your kid and whatever. But listen, I don't care if it's whoever your counselor is. I don't care if it's your husband, your wife, your employer, whatever. If somebody says something to you about your drinking and your drug use and this shit pisses you off, chances are they're telling the truth and you needed to hear it. Right? It does. A lot of times, we get self-righteous and indignant and start, how dare you, and don't you know who I think I am, and all this other shit. But really, people have been letting us get away with way too much.
So with him, I didn't. It's just it rocked.
Yeah, well, that's the
before.
thing, because it's your
I didn't
son.
say a word,
Yeah.
and I was like,
He put that mirror right in front of your face. He made you see what he sees, and that really affected you. And that's good. Listen, and I hope you use that as motivation. You use that as motivation, and you go, you know what? I won.
I ride all the time. That's the first thing.
Hey, shit, man. If that's what it takes, you got to win that bet.
Right.
You got to win that
I'll go,
bet.
Mike.
Yeah, please, Matthew.
So, been sober 2 years, and I work a different program, but it's essentially the 12 steps through the Bible. My small group took a break for 4 weeks because everybody was going on vacation. At the same time, a bunch of other stressful shit happened, and I relapsed the Saturday before the 4th and thought I was hiding it. She asked me and then played it off when I said no. No big deal. Next day, got up, she's still asleep, or so I thought. She's playing sleep.
Setting you up for, yeah.
I get up, go to the liquor store, drink, come back, cut the grass, like did all kinds
So
of
ambitious.
yeah. And that was partly because I had hidden another bottle in the shed where the lawnmower goes, so I had an excuse to go.
Plus, you're doing something productive, so it's like, hey, look at me.
Yeah.
I'm awesome.
So at that point, she knew I'd been drinking, and while I was in the backyard cutting, she moved her car behind mine, so I couldn't get out. Well, hell, we're on a private drive, and it's 2 blocks from a gas station, so I can cut through the back and walk. So I struck out walking and went to the gas station.
She's there waiting for you.
And came back. So then it got kind of ugly because she could tell. She knew by then. And I said, I don't want to argue with you, just move your car. And so she fought me and fought me and fought me and fought me. I left again on foot, went and drank some more, came back, passed out that night. She hadn't moved her car yet. Next morning, get up, well, I've got one of her car keys. So I moved her car and got in my service van and left, came back, passed out again. She got the car key to her car, moved the car again, blocked me. Woke up, we got in an argument again. She finally was tired of arguing, so she moved her car and let me leave and called the police. So,
You didn't give him much choice, did you?
got a DUI on 4th of July. No, I didn't give her much choice, and I'm honestly not mad at her.
I mean,
But that doesn't stop there.
no.
So she knows that I'm on Suboxone, and if I stayed in jail for very long, I was going to be detoxing like a motherfucker. And so she came and invited me out the next day, thinking he's been in jail overnight.
That
He's
you
got
had your
back.
wake-up
So-
call, basically.
So I actually did good. I suffered through it. It sucked. I did good for about a week. I snuck a little bit here and there. She didn't question it. I thought I was getting away with it, but of course, that had become unmanageable. We can't control this fucking shit. Once it started,
Party's over.
the 18th, our anniversary. She had bought a bunk bed from a friend and asked me if I'd go pick it up in the truck. And of course, she's got Life 360 on the phone. She said, don't make any stops. I trust you.
Don't detour.
So I left and of course stopped at the gas station. She called and said, what are you stopping at the gas station for? I said, well shit, I had to leave the tailgate down. I don't have any rope or anything to tie everything off. I had to drive 5 miles an hour to the gas station, which that was true, but it was an excuse to stop. So next door to the damn gas station is a liquor store. So I came home, dropped off the bunk bed, and then went to go get a mattress. She didn't question anything, didn't say anything. I unloaded all the bunk bed, all that. By the time I got back to the mattress, I couldn't walk. Stumbling hard. So she comes out, because I'd sat in the van forever, and I opened the door and almost fell out. So then she shakes her head and then tries to help me. Well, as we get to the front door, I tripped on the doormat and essentially made both of us fall, and she hit the door frame. We both went to the ground. So she's pissed beyond pissed now.
Yeah, I'm sure she don't walk around falling for
And
no reason.
I said, just go on, I don't need your help. So she gets up, walks off. I stand up and grab the keys to go down to the mailbox. It's a private drive, mailbox is at the end. I walk down to the mailbox, she called the police. Public intox and a simple assault for falling into her. All that's since been dropped. They actually dropped the simple assault and the public intox. It was on my own property. She called and had it dropped. But that, at the mailbox, when the cop pulled up, it was just on our anniversary. I'm a fucking idiot.
Well, also, it's your wife who loves you, who's putting you in jail
I
because she thinks
agree.
you're gonna kill yourself
Well,
or someone
and
else.
that's the whole thing. So then, what's crazier than that is they let me out after 12 hours on my own recognizance. No bond, no nothing, just recognizance bond. Let me out. So I walked a mile to the Orange County Airport where my airplane is, and I knew I had a bottle of vodka hidden behind the seat. Chugged that motherfucker.
You are determined, my
Look,
friend.
well, I didn't think they'd let me out. I already had the uh-oh moment, but still, they let me out. And I feel like shit, I got the shakes, you know what I'm saying? So, guy at the airport, I didn't have my phone or anything. Guy at the airport let me use the phone. I called her and she said, you can't come here. And I was like, okay, well, I need my shit. So her brother came and got me, which we're cool, but he was pissed. I don't give a shit. And takes me, there was a couple boxes of clothes, and she handed me my keys and my phone and said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to the hotel. I went to the hotel. Within the next 3 days, I did nothing but go hotel, liquor store, hotel, liquor store, hotel, liquor store. She saw all of it on Life 360. And I wasn't doing nothing but chugging straight, passing out. As soon as I woke up, going and buying more, chugging straight, passing out. And so she called my dad and said, I'm afraid he's going to kill himself. And so Dad flew from Birmingham to Houston, rented a truck, drove to the hotel, and I'm in the hotel passed out here knocking the door, and I'm thinking, fuck, the cops. I'm thinking the hotel staff has seen me stumbling and getting in the damn truck or
It's
the van,
worse.
and has got the cops there to fuck with me. And I looked through the peephole, and it's my dad.
Damn.
That was when I was like, for real, all right, shit,
I
shit,
need to
man.
do something.
I gotta do something.
All right, so listen, hurry up, just because
So,
Jody's meeting, I
long
want you
story
guys.
short, Dad had already set up for me to go to chemo, and he just said, if you can keep your Suboxone, where you go? And I said, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Like, I was I was shocked, but I was so fucking happy to see him. And I said, so Courtney called you. He said, yes, she's been watching you go to the liquor store back and forth on the GPS. She thought she was gonna end up dead. So I got a pending DUI, but I passed the sobriety test, walking the line and everything, I didn't blow. And the attorney says they're 2.5 years behind on court, and most of them, if you don't blow, they've been no bill. Just let them out. So we'll see, but she's being supportive and standing behind me. She just wanted me to get help. She didn't know what the fuck to do. The only way I'm gonna stop is silver bracelets.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that stops me.
I get it. Well, man, and good, you're in a good place. You're stopping, you're, I mean, you've been doing the right things. All right, good, guys, go. Listen, guys, be back at 7 for Jody's, meeting, and do what you're supposed to do.
Got another
Thank you, thank you.